a lot of goes wrong, but we still do it and we don't know why. Hi, I'm Brett Mauser, and I made over 40 feature films. And today we're going to talk about why we put ourselves through this.
Should we clean this up a little before we
Take two.
Gotta be mixing something back there. Like, why do we do this, huh?
We're about on episode 60 of what went wrong, and each one is a different topic about all this. I even have a shirt that said, that we made of Admiral Price, who was who Jeff was their little Lego.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like rule number.
Thank you, love. You're looking very smashing today, by the way.
Rule number 23: making films would be so fun if it weren't for all the actors.
Amen.
And then it goes on this list about refrigerators and bars and trying to get extras, and there's just one thing after another that we have to put up with. I think it's safe to say we're all very creative at this table. What is it that and I know you've sort of stepped away for a little while, and I know you'll be back
for a little while. Yeah.
What is it that I mean? And even when you were shooting your films, you would know ahead of time, this isn't going to be easy. This is going to be a pain in the ass. I've been as over 40 feature films, I know what we're going into. Why do we do it? And you as an actress know what you're going to be in for. I mean, even today, fortunately we had we shot today, and we had about a full 8-hour day. I think 9 hours. Well, it was on the schedule for 9 hours, and we still were able to get almost on time.
Things happen.
Yeah. But you go into it knowing this is a long, tough day, and there at the end, and I'm reading you, and I'm like, okay, she's getting tired, she's getting hungry. Let's get through this, and we can feed her.
I don't think one of her stomach goes.
Yeah.
Are you hungry? No, I farted.
I'm sorry. Yeah, when my stomach starts taking over the microphone, the boom mic's. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, my belly button is trying to go through my back.
And now I'm about to embark on 12 feature films in 1 year, which isn't that much different from the Innocent Saga. But I'm embarking on that, and the big question is, and there are times where I'm like, I know what I'm getting into. Why am I doing this? Because the idea is that it's going to be not just me, that there are going to be other film directors. But at the same time, and you'll be right there alongside of me, knowing that out of the 5 filmmakers that have signed on to do this, mm-hmm. 1 or 2 of us are going to be winding up doing all these films. There's going to be at least 2 of them that drop out and don't do any. But yet we sign on and we do it. Why?
It's fun. I mean, we were talking about it off camera. Like, part of what made me step away from it was it stopped being fun. I want to have fun, because this is not what I want to do for a living. And
it's a creative outlet.
It's a creative outlet. And, I'll get really, really deep. I don't even know if you know this.
That's because you're a narcissist. No, I know that.
No, you know that, so
yeah.
It's okay. No, honestly, since I was a kid, I've always wanted to be a writer. When I got into high school, I wanted to do comic books. Like, me and my buddies, we thought we were going to have our own comic book company and do this. But the problem is that as a writer, you're never going to get a comic book made. Ever. You have to have an artist. And, when you're in high school, it's fun. You're collaborating, and the artist is going to be there. But then as you get older and you start wanting these things to happen, trying to find an artist to collaborate, it's unfair. I can write a script in a day for a comic book. It takes them a month to draw this comic. So unless you're willing to pay, you can't do it. Or you try to teach yourself how to draw, and then maybe you can draw it yourself, and then you sit down, you go, okay, now I can do this comic, and you draw the first guy and realize I didn't learn how to draw buildings or cars or guns. Now it's just a guy standing in a snow.
You should have got the Lee J. Ames series.
Yeah,
how to draw a dinosaur.
Just do the lines like manga. It's like, why are you characters only running? I don't know how to do backgrounds. But at the time, this is 2000, 2001, when the first times I started doing like short films, and I realized I don't need an artist. I can write it, and I can shoot it, and I can edit it, and I can do it all myself.
Right.
And I think that's what really sparked my interest in doing it. And I think I got about 5 or 6 films deep before I went, hey, actually, I like the acting side too. And then that was Butterfingers was the first one
Yeah.
that I was like, I can act. Like, I really like the acting thing. And, but it was fun and it was interesting. And so that was what kind of got me into it, and what got me going forward was that you can do this as a one-man shop. You know this. You, more often than not, it's you doing all of the things. Mm-hmm. But then I also got to the point where I realized, like, well, I don't like editing. I do it because I want to get the thing done. And then I got a job editing. And as everybody knows, you don't want a job doing your hobby, because then you never do your hobby because you're tired of doing it. And that really drastically changed. And that's when I started trying to find editors. And then wanting to direct the kind of films I wanted to do, and nobody wants to direct them. Or the guys who want to direct them, you don't want them directing them. So I think that's the fun of it was there, but not. But once it stopped getting fun, I kind of walked away. But that was it. It's fun. It's a creative outlet, but also, you know, I can finish it. Mm-hmm. I can create the story. I can write it. I don't have to pay an artist or find an artist or do this. And I was lucky enough that through Short Ends and through some of the projects I did, I made friends who actually were great actors and good actors. I learned from them, and some of them, like, you know, Scott, who you're lucky enough to run into, that one, great friendship, but two, like, they enjoy the acting. Mm-hmm. And it's not about, like, I want to get paid, because, you know, I can't pay you. But if you're willing to come and have fun with me, and you want to have fun, and I want to have fun, and you're enjoying yourself, you can have a good time and make a film. And sometimes that's how these films get made, is because everybody's having fun. Yeah. But it does peak, because now you're working with your buddies, and you can't look at your buddy and go like, no, I don't care what you think. This is what we're doing. You can't do that. Or, you know, you're being discourteous to your buddy, and you don't put him on whatever. And it's like, oh my gosh, like, I just screwed my buddy over. In my mind, I'm thinking, well, this is what it should be, and that's not what it should be. And I think that kind of process got just kind of like, nah, I don't do that.
Yeah, you know, because when I started off, it was my high school buddies and I running around making funny films, you know, just having fun. Yeah. And then it started getting a little bit more serious, and it just sort of grew and grew and grew. And that's why I think that period of Ponderous Productions, from, you know, like Barrio Angels up to the end of the Innocent Saga, will never be seen again, because it was just this perfect storm in a way of, we had just the right number of people, we were all doing it for the same reasons, and there was sort of this understanding of, you know, we're probably not going to make any money, but if we do, we're all going to be, you know, be you know, a part of that. We're all going to relish the rewards, so to speak. And it wasn't just that time in all of our lives, but it was also a time in society, I think, because nowadays there's, it's not everywhere, but there's enough that makes it really difficult that today it's, well, what's in it for me? Yeah. And there is this, it's just piled, you know, power driven into people's heads. You know, well, what are you getting out of this? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Are they paying you?
Are they paying you? Yeah. Or you know, what are you getting out of this? You know, and that's why we try to at least get something out to people now. Yeah. And you know, and I think that makes it a lot difficult to have fun in that, because now you're worried about that. Yeah. Now it's like, well, are they being compensated? Are we treating them fairly? Are they, you know, are we making this worth their while? Right. And as much as, you know, as much fun as we have, that is a consideration. I don't want to say they're right or wrong. You know, there's...
If they agree to be part of the project, they know there's no money in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no money in it.
Yeah.
But if they want to be paid, you either have to pay them or say, well, I can't pay
Yeah,
you.
and
You
this
can't
is-
be, I'm sorry, you got to go.
Yeah, and I think
know.
this is where it comes from me being from a different time or a little bit old fashioned, is I can look at somebody and say, well, look, you don't have that background. You don't, people aren't going to buy this movie because
Right.
you're in it.
Yeah.
But that doesn't click with people. They still want the $2 million sell. Well, why doesn't he get the? Because he's bringing in $40 million.
People
Yeah.
know who he is. Nobody knows who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to do the research. You got to do the projects, get it under, and then
Yeah.
But I think too is because I can remember doing the short end stuff, and that was 2003, 2004, and that's when you start seeing this really big traction in the independent film community here in San Antonio, and so many people from that went on to do other things. Then as they get bigger, there's no sense of
Loyalty?
not loyalty. I mean that's too, but is let's bring up the next generation, and if they do that, there's no, because I remember Albert, a friend of mine, he
I think I remember.
you remember Albert, the way I met him was at MySpace, way back then. Is he messaged me and said, "Hey, I'm thinking about getting in the movies. What kind of camera should I buy?" I was like, "Well, right now this is what's kind of big. It's before HD. I think it was like the Panasonic 3000 or whatever. I can't remember what it's called. Or P300, whatever. Crap. Anyway, so I told him this is the one. I've used it. A lot of people are using it. Panasonic does this, And I was doing wedding videos, so it's like Canon's more the warm, Panasonic's cold, but you do everything in After Effects and whatever answer I gave him. And then he and I kind of talked, and we met one day, and then he started being on a lot of the projects we were doing. And I remember it was probably like a year later, and we were talking, and he was like, "Hey, how'd you meet?" And I was like, "Yeah, because you sent me that." And he goes, I messaged 15 different filmmakers, and you're the only person that responded.
Yeah.
It's not a secret. Why can't you answer the question? And I think that's what happens is, so you make the narcissism joke, but I think that's what happens is everybody's so busy wanting to do their thing that I don't know if they're afraid to help somebody else.
They're afraid to help somebody else because there's a possibility that person would outshine them or be better than them.
It comes down to zero-sum game.
Right.
Yeah. Everybody believes this fallacy. It's the fallacy of the economy today, is they think that it's a zero-sum game. But that's not really. There's not this one piece of pie that everybody can get. There's only this amount of pie that's going amongst all these filmmakers, and that's not the way it is.
Right.
Everyone thinks that's the way it is. The economy. Yeah. If these people are so rich, then they're taking money from this poor guy. Yeah. That's not the way economy works. That's not the way wealth creation is. If I buy a bunch of nails and a bunch of wood and I build a house, I've created wealth. And that's not what people understand. They can't get that through the idea that that's how you create wealth. Because in the past, the way you created wealth was you stole it from somebody else. So I get that that's, back in the day. But once you started having private ownership, then you now were able to take what you owned and create something out of that and create wealth by doing something creative or something in a manufacturing level and growing in that aspect. And that's something that we just don't teach people. And unfortunately, that creates a lot of that selfishness and doesn't allow us to, and creates that animosity between filmmakers. And that brings us back to something that Brad and I have talked about how when we first got into San Antonio, we had already had Barrio Angels and Cartel Killers at Blockbuster shelves. So we would try a lot of some independent filmmakers. Well, how do you do it? What can you tell us? And we tell them, especially things like, well, there's this one distributor, and they go, oh, well, that's one we're talking with.
Yeah.
Okay, be careful because, and we would try to advise them. And it's like, okay, look, just Google it yourself.
Yeah.
This company is going to rip you off, so be careful. And they'd be like, oh, well, what do you know? And then Brad and I were always trying to help people. When they ask us questions, we would answer honestly and say, hey, yeah, this, but hey, do your thing. And we got and as helpful as we were trying to be, where some people would eventually, I would hear through the grapevine that somebody would is talking about the Innocent Saga. Well, why do you think? He thinks there's the Steven Spielberg of San Antonio.
We used to have that conversation a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, and and they'd slam us, and it's like, we're just trying to help, man. We're not trying to shatter your dreams, and we're not saying don't go with them. We're saying, hey, we went with them because we had a trilogy. The other company didn't want that last one. We just wanted it out. We knew what we were getting into. We're letting you know. We're just giving you that advice. We're not saying don't do it, but we're just giving you the heads up.
Like, who doesn't want insider information?
Yeah. But no, it was a lot of hate and a lot of, it's like, we're not fighting for the same piece of the pie. We can all share in this pizza.
Yeah.
Yeah. So me, I just got into it because I was a mom for the first time and I didn't quite know what to do with myself and lived in a city for the first time with no family or anybody else here. And I was like, oh, acting. I actually didn't go into it for me. What I did was I was looking up people that were working with kids, like modeling agencies, commercials, and stuff like that. And I was looking for Rain because she was only like almost a year. She was like 6 months to a year whenever I started looking into it and just looking for her. And then I sort of ended up getting trapped in this like, oh, yeah, I remember I used to do this. Like, I really liked it. Okay. And so for me, like Matthew was saying before, and like I've said before, it totally was just an outlet, a creative outlet. It was something that I enjoyed doing. I wasn't looking for money. I wasn't looking for anything else, and just really enjoyed the process. So I remember when I was watching the other day, What Went Wrong, when you were talking with Jake, and you guys were talking about the fact that it kind of went on a tangent talking about how family and the creative memories that it musters up, and just there's so much. And I think I commented on the video because there's so many lifelong friends, family, like different things that came out of that time. I still can't even hear "So You Had a Bad Day" without like seeing the video, like the first little clips of the Innocent Saga on that. I can't even hear that song without thinking about it. So for me, just being a part of that, and like I said before, when I came into it, it was Carolyn, Sarah, Diane, and I ended up at Diane, and I'm actually really thankful that is where I ended up, because she became like that's mine. Like this is my character. There's so much of me in her. And so, looking back at those things and just seeing how much of me I poured into her, even if it was 15 minutes of the first movie. And then coming back, like I was always excited to come back, and and so whenever the new Innocent Saga stuff came about and the framing aspect of it, you want to come back? Yeah, I want to come back. Yeah, Diane that's me. Like I want to come back and be Diane. But I don't think it really hit me. There were some special moments in seeing how that's what feeds into the, not really narcissism, but kind of like that's what feeds into that creative enjoyment of it, the memories that you're creating, the friends that you create. And then I'll never forget that what you would do at the end of everybody's, like when they wrapped their character in Innocent Saga for the 10 films, which originally it was my wrap for the 10 films, you would post on the website this like thank you to this person for being this character, and you would tell about the character, like I created this character back when I was in high school and I was doing this, and she was always such a important character, and it made me feel really important to be a part of it. Like, oh, that's who Diane, this guy, when we showed up to the premiere, when I was married to Josh, we show up, Matthew's standing in the back, I walk in, I die. This guy walks up to me. Why are you still here? Your character's dead.
That's a misquote.
Really? I'm sorry. What did you say?
I said, I don't understand why you're still here. You've been dead for like 20 minutes. Because it was like halfway through the movie.
Yeah.
And you're like, I sing at the end.
I
I was like,
sing at
oh,
the
that's
end.
right. I can't wait to hear that. It'll be fun.
Yeah. But, and then for me too, you know, I grew up singing in church. And so to have, I never wanted to be a singer. It wasn't really a dream of mine or whatever. But to be able to add just a different layer to the scene with Mike and Carolyn, and they're both having their moments with whatever they're struggling with their partners and things that have happened and whatever. And to be able to add that layer to it was really sweet to me. And then to have, like I said, whenever I rapped, and to have just Diane as a whole and who she was and whatever, that's why I do it.
Well, it's funny. It's funny because you're talking about the characters that have been a part of my life for so long. Diane and
Right.
Laura were, we're talking back in 1991, for God's sake. And Joey, we shot in Blue Moon in '97. There was a Joey Pantanelli in Blue Moon, and looking back, it's like the Joey that you presented was halfway there, but he wasn't anything like the Joey that I kind of had in mind. But yet there was this collaboration that brought to life this Joey that other Joey that I had in mind could never have evolved into.
Right.
And so it is. So it is this living, breathing entity, and so to speak, that you get certain people. And you can look at how many people are still with us, the people that are still by my side. And they're the ones that really brought something and added something to those characters. From my standpoint, it is I just can't do anything else. I've tried to step away and get away from film. But I have this devotion and this loyalty to film that just pushes me off because I can't imagine doing anything else. And this is the only thing that, the things that I'm capable of doing in my life, this is the only thing that I can look at that has any meaning or any purpose. And that being having people enjoy themselves while watching my films. And it's not curing cancer. And I understand that, and I know that, so that I don't have that arrogance and that ego that I'm a filmmaker. But at the same time, it is sort of there's got to be something here, as strong as this desire is, there's got to be some sort of purpose behind it. But yeah, so there's that idea of what is the whole meaning of it all.
Yeah.
And
Well, if you look at the people who are still doing things with you, like you've got Jeff, who's been here basically since the beginning, right? And people who feel that passion about something and who know that you're going to get it done, that you're going to tell the story, that it will get out there. I mean, that's why people keep coming back. And those that don't,